This is the Barbados Today evening news for Thursday, October 12. Thank you for joining us. I am Mary Claire Williams. As government intensifies its war on crime, dozens of electronic eyes are about to be installed on the outskirts of Bridgetown and along the west coast. This will add to the undisclosed number already looking out for criminal activity in those areas. Police report that the security initiative is reaping success in lowering crime, and they are planning to install about 30 more CCTVs at strategic locations in the 2 tourist districts. The revelation came from the Tourism Development Corporation's Project Committee Chairman, Mark Thompson, on the sidelines of the annual general meeting of the TDC this afternoon. Thompson told Barbados Today that the corporation has just approved a $250,000 request from the Royal Barbados Police Force to acquire the cameras, and this venture is being undertaken with the Barbados Hotel and Tourism Association.
We just approved funding to the Police Association for CCTV cameras in the Carlisle Bay area and also on the west coast near around the Bridgetown area. That is really an extension of what has been done on the south coast and in Bridgetown. The police have noted that they've seen a reduction in crime based on the location of those cameras, and hence they want to up the ante and now spread it across at least on the west coast and Carlisle Bay.
An ongoing study of the prison population is raising concern over the increasing levels of violent crime on the island. That's according to Senior Research Officer at the Criminal Justice Research and Planning Unit, Kim Ramsey. She was addressing a national consultation on crime and violence at the Garfield Sobers Gymnasium this morning.
In 1997, just to give you a background, the department under the auspices of Yona Ford, she did a study called Report on Criminal Risk Factors. She went into the prison as well, so we're talking 20 years ago, and she conducted some research as well. So what I did was I pulled some of the information over the study and compared to see if we saw any major changes in the prison population. So that said, I'll just begin with the introduction. Crime and its concomitant elements continue to plague not only Barbados but the entire region and the world at large. We've witnessed an increasing level of violence resulting in homicides, apprehensions, robberies, and shootings. And our society is now grappling with the absurd shootings on what seems to be a daily basis. So for us to understand the offenders, we decided it's best for us to go and interview them, get a background on their lives, the challenges they face, some of the motivating factors, and what better place to capture that information but in an institution where offenders exist.
To news from the courts now, one man has been jailed for robbing a 15-year-old schoolboy last week. 20-year-old Raul Anthony Caesar of no fixed place of abode was remanded to prison after appearing before Magistrate Elwood Watts in the Oistins Magistrates Court today. He was remanded and is due back in court on November 8th. Caesar pleaded guilty to a separate charge of robbery and was ordered to compensate the complainant $300 in 1 week for a stolen cell phone or face 1 month in prison. He was further sentenced to 6 months behind bars for breaching a suspended sentence in a separate offense. And police are reporting that 15-year-old Jakira Matthews of Beckles Avenue, New Orleans, St. Michael, who was reported missing yesterday, has been traced and is safe. In other news this evening, Barbadians got a chance this morning to experience life as a visually impaired person. As the island joined in the observance of World Sight Day, the Lions Club of Bridgetown, in partnership with the National Society for the Blind and Carlton and A1 Supermarket in Black Rock, organized the activity. The second vice president of the Bridgetown Lions Club, Stephen Howell, says the project aims to raise the awareness of the challenges facing the visually impaired.
Where we would educate the public about the importance of sight, to increase awareness of the blind and the visually impaired person in the community, as well as the challenges that they encounter on a daily basis.
And shoppers were challenged to be blindfolded while selecting a number of grocery items from the store. Among the first to participate was marketing manager for A1 Supermarkets, Reva Graham.
It was definitely, dare I say, an eye-opener. we take our vision really for granted, and having it compromised puts things into perspective. You're required to pull on your other senses so much more. It was definitely a challenge. You required feeling the product out and smelling it, and to kind of gauge what it was. And there were some of them that were particularly challenging because the feel or the smell was very similar, and I can only imagine what that must be like.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Barbados Today, touching one community at a time.
Thank you for staying with us. We're back with news from the region. Dominica's Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit is once again calling on the international community not to ignore the problem of climate change. Skerrit made the appeal in his address to mark International Day for Disaster Reduction today. He said that this year's theme, Home Safe Home, is resonating strongly with Caribbean people who have been affected by Hurricanes Harvey, Irma, and Maria. Dominicans are among those struggling to pick up the pieces following the passage of Hurricane Maria last month. And finally, on the international scene, rival Palestinian factions Hamas and Fatah have reached a deal over political reconciliation after Hamas agreed to hand over administrative control of the Gaza enclave. We get more in this Reuters report.
Inking a deal in Cairo, a decade-long rift between two Palestinian factions becomes history, with one member of the delegation saying it was time to fold the page of division forever. Hamas, which controls Gaza, and Fatah, that runs the West Bank, have reached a reconciliation agreement in Cairo. They've been ruling separately since deadly clashes between the two groups broke out in 2007. Hamas has agreed to hand over control of the Gaza Strip by December 1st. And the Rafah border crossing with Egypt will be handed to the unity government by the beginning of November. Reuters' Nidal al-Mughrabi is in Gaza.
This unity deal will allow President Mahmoud Abbas to gain more strength in his political standing in any upcoming or any potential new round of peacemaking with Israel.
The deal could see the US plunged into an awkward legal bind. They deem Hamas a terrorist organization and therefore wouldn't be able to work with them. The head of the Hamas delegation also reiterated their hope of an independent Palestinian state with Jerusalem as its capital, a sticking point Israel has refused to budge on in previous failed negotiations. Hamas and Fatah agreed in 2014 to form a national reconciliation government, but despite that deal, Hamas's shadow government continued to rule Gaza. The move to hand over power of the Strip is a major reversal for them. Palestinian unity could boost the hand of the government in any revival of talks on a Palestinian state in Israeli-occupied territory. Internal Palestinian strife has been a major obstacle to peacemaking. For Gaza's 2 million people, trapped by border blockades, facing a lack of electricity and infrastructure still shattered by wars, they'll be hoping this new chapter is brighter than the last.
And that's news this evening. Remember, you can get more on our website, www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, and like us on Facebook. We're on Izumi Media in bus terminals and on Screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. You can also find us on Mix 96.9 FM. I am Mary Claire Williams. Good evening.